We got another plan explained for you guys. This is 200 ml. We're jumping straight into the action, and we face a 3-bet with 6-5 suited. Versus are, I assume, a recreational from the short stack. I'm gonna continue with the call because of the small 3-bet, and just check for the flop. We're gonna open ace 10 here. In the cutoff, we face a small 3-bet from a guy who's 24, 18, 8. Just because it's a small 3-bet, usually in equilibrium, it wouldn't be a defend versus a 10 BB 3-bet or 11 BB 3-bet. But versus this such a small 3-bet, I'm gonna continue. And we get a gut shot plus an open, plus a backdoor flush draw. And he uses the big size. Now, versus the big size, if I didn't have the ace of hearts, I would already fold ace 10 because I assume this guy to be unbalanced. Is a recreational probably from the size of his 3-bet. And I assume he's going to be unbalanced with the c-betting range, and when he bets bigger, it's just stronger on the dynamic board. But because I have also the backdoor flush draw, I think the hand is too strong to fold. And we get top pair on the turn. Now, if he continues betting big again, it would be dicey, but because he went with a half pot, I honestly consider it to be more kings that doesn't want to check, or maybe like a king queen. We're gonna continue with the call again, and we get a blank on the river unless he had 6-7 suited, which is stats don't really indicate a guy that would 3-bet 6-7 suited. So I think if he jams again, it's like it could be ace king and we beat. It could be aces that got the ace, but it's only one combo, and it was like slowing down on the turn because he thought, oh, what do I get value from anymore? But I think it's more likely to be kings that just doesn't want to check and is like stacking up. So I'm gonna call, and he has ace queen. That's okay. That could also be the hand that plays that way, like gets 2 pair on the turn, and then he doesn't want to size up more than a half pot because it feels like there's not much to get value from. But yeah, the big size on the flop, it shows you how strong it is. So we're just gonna check down king queen here. Multi-way versus 3 people, I don't see a reason to start bluffing. I don't think we have much fold equity. And here we get sweeps, we call queen 9, and we're gonna start with a check raise. This guy is marked for me, blue is recreational, so I must have played with him before, and versus a pot, we're just gonna fold. And when he checks back, I'm just gonna go overbet, overbet. He folds, that's unfortunate. We're gonna open 10-9 of hearts versus Chinese big blind. He folds. Open queen jack offsuit in the small blind, and we face a 3-bet. I'm just gonna fold. King jack off would be between 4-bet and call, and king queen also, but queen jack is too weak. It's in between again. It's I would say it's 0 EV in equilibrium. If you call or fold, like it's the same EV for both actions. But because it's a recreational, I expect him to 3-bet less bluffs than he should. Then yeah. So queen jack here, I'm gonna see bet range for small size, and here versus a donk is obviously recreational because he's using this size, and this board is not a donking board. So I'm gonna continue cautiously with the call with bottom pair, and now he checks on the ace. I really want to start bluffing already, honestly. So I'm gonna start bluffing my 4. If I had a 5, maybe I would check back, but just the ace, I don't expect him to donk big with an ace so often on this board. It's more like a pair of 9s or 5 or pocket pair that doesn't want to see a scary card on the turn. And with king 10 here versus 2 small sizes, I don't expect the aggressor to really bet small if he has like aces or kings, right? So maybe we should check raise, but because the board is so dynamic and there's so many scary cards that could come on the turn that devalue our hand, so when we're out of position versus 2 opponents with top pair, I just prefer check calling and keeping the pot small. But now that we got two pair, I'm definitely check raising. I'm using a huge size because this is versus two people that might be recreational, and just the board is so dynamic that I don't see a reason to go with a small size. Here I'm gonna check 5, the big blind check range, and gonna check raise. I'm gonna use the 75%. So yeah, everybody fold here and fold here. I'm gonna use 75% check raise. Gonna check raise. The bottom of my value wedge would be King Jack and Ace Jack, and with a mix of in equilibrium with the mix. Some of the time, some Queen Jack with a club, or maybe Jack 10 with a club, and some 8x, I guess, for this exact reason, for the board coverage on an 8. And now usually, and now I'm just gonna check, and no more reason to bet. We don't beat Ace Jack, we don't beat King Jack, we don't beat any of those other Jack X. And when he checks back again, I'm just gonna go block and hope to get called by 10s, 9s, or maybe freeze the action versus a better Jack. When I say freeze the action, I mean if I check, it's probably gonna bet bigger. So I prefer just, yeah. And now when he goes on the raise, my hand could be turned into a bluff, block 3-bet jam, but versus a Chinese guy with 16 VPIP, I just don't expect him to have finger value raises. And you want a 3-bet bluff when you expect the guy to have team value raises, because that's the hands you want to put pressure on, right? I want to put pressure on this Ace Jack, King Jack that he decides to raise because he thinks they're best. Here when the 8 pairs and the flush comes after c-betting small on the flop, I'm just going to check back. And if he checks again, I'm going to value bet river. And if he bets, I'm just going to call. But he bets a slight overbet, which makes me worry because he's a 22 VPIP guy. Yeah, 22-16, 1,500 hands. This is a stats of a NIT. This is not the stats of a guy who's gonna turn pocket 4-0 that he checked called flop with into a bluff. Okay, so I'm just gonna. It might look quick, but I'm just folding straight up Ace Queen. And here I'm going to open a bit wider King 9 versus a recreational that seems on the tight side. I'm going to start with a check on this board. In equilibrium versus a regular, you should check very often this board. I would say like 60% of the time you will check back this board because you don't have the 6x advantage, you don't have the trips advantage. Now that he checks again, I'm just going to go 75-75, trying to bluff him off ace high or a flush draw. On the river, trying to fold him off pocket pair or flush draw or ace high flush draw or something like that, and just add trips. Get it trapped. That's okay. I'm gonna open a7 suited here. We get a call in the hijack form again at 27 VPIP guy, not to lose. And on this board, we're just gonna check. We don't have much equity. We don't have any backdoors to barrel on, right? Like if we get the 8, we do get an up and down, but is it really good up and down now? I'm just gonna check. And for multi-way, you have to be much more careful with the hands you bet. For bluffs, it's not like heads up that you can just choose a 0% equity hand and just barrel it down. Versus a limp, we're just gonna check 6-4 suited and check fold flop. He snap checks back, but still his range is some sort of pair at least, right? Like if he has a pocket pair, like it's hard not to hit this board. Especially when he decides to, like he was in the logic and decided not to fold. Like he decided my hand is good enough, maybe not to raise, but it's good enough to continue. So, and here, 31-15. Just gonna flat pocket 9s on the small blind, just because it's a recreational. I can maneuver it post flop better. In general, you should never open 4x, or you should never call a 4x open also. Because as the opening size gets bigger, you get worse patterns to call. So you prefer 3-betting or folding and just getting that fold equity. But I just assumed that a 31, 15 pip guy, the 4x open would be strong. And I'm just gonna fold it after it goes small. I'm gonna flatter your pocket nines. Versus the logic, I wouldn't 3-bet that often, if at all. I'm gonna start with a check call versus a small c-bet. Then comes on the turn, and I'm probably gonna check fold turn, but he goes to half pot. I really wanna just check raise this size because it feels like such a weak size. He should overbet. His range should be overbetting or calling. I'm just gonna max exploit check raise this and jam river, put max pressure on him. His range on the turn should be betting overbet or at least 75%. Like when he bets half pot, it just feels like he's either bluffing or just trying to buy a cheap showdown. Like bet half pot on the turn and check back river. And again, this is not stuff you want to do in your normal pool, right? But in Russian cash, people change all the time. You change tables all the time. So you're able to play more max exploits. So I'm gonna flat ace check here, and versus I'm gonna check all flop, and versus mean 3-bet I'm gonna continue 10-9. I'm just gonna fold the flop. Here I would check raise, maybe consider check raising some ace jack if I had the backdoor flush blocker. That means if I had the ace of spades, clubs, or diamonds, but with the boss ace, I'm just gonna fold. And here it timed me out, but yeah, it's 10-9. I'm just gonna fold the receiver. When he bets again, we got an up and down, so I think we're getting the odds to call over. So I have the ace out. Yeah, I'm just gonna continue with the call, and we got the up and down. I'm just gonna check all river. When he goes half pot, I'm still gonna just check all river, I think. Yeah, I'm still gonna just check all river. But yeah, I thought it might be something like that. So maybe I should jam when he only goes half pot, but I can never know really if he thinks that. Like, what exactly does it think about the spot, right? Like most people wouldn't value bet one pair there, and then you just run into traps more often. But you can see how they size their hand, right? Like he thought his hand was worth 50% pot on the river, and he just bet 50% pot. Like they're not trying to be too trappy or too sophisticated or too balanced. They're just like betting their hand strength. So here I'm gonna start with a small c-bet. I accidentally opened 2x, but it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna start with a check here and just barrel turn, barrel river. Delay turn, delay river, I mean. This is a board I would use a polar c-bet. And now when the queen comes, I'm just gonna give up, because imagine it's double check range that check holds turn. It's mostly queen x, right? Or maybe some weak ace x. And then like, what am I really getting to fold here? I guess he also has check 10, but like usually you would expect people to bet draws that they can check call. I know it did check call it, but like you wouldn't really, when you think about it, you don't really want to check call this kind of draws. You want to check all draws that you have showdown value with more often. I'm going to start with a big c-bet. This board favors me. It's flatted small blind. It's more, its range is oriented around pocket pairs. An open ace queen suited, ace queen offsuit, so on the deuce, if it was button versus big blind, we check more often. But because it's low jack versus big blind, you shouldn't really have many suited deuce X. So even though we almost never have deuce X, he also never has deuce X at all. So we're just gonna see bet range or close to it. And versus a small check raise, I'm gonna continue. We'll get a queen on the turn. Versus the small size, I'm just gonna raise. Because again, they're just sizing their hand, like it's just thinking I have a pocket pair, I don't want to check, let me size my hand. So I'm gonna go with the small raise to induce maybe a call or something stupid. And here I'm just gonna see bet range or small size. And he calls and the king comes, and I'm just gonna check back. He might have a deuce, even though I think it's very unlikely. Seems on the tight side, so I don't really expect him to make huge calls. No reason to bet eights anymore, just check back and try to get to showdown. Here, I thought it might be something like that. It was very close to value bet again, but it's okay. And you see, just size this hand. You have to really listen, they want to tell you what they have. And here versus a 14 VP play, he's super tight, 14, 10, 70 hands, like, you just don't expect those guys to bluff. He's a need, he's a total need. So when you have a bluff catcher in those spots, just fold versus the need. Don't be tempted. He doesn't find the bluffs. In general, pre-flop, when he's super tight, it's very hard for him, even if he bluffed all his bluffs. He wouldn't get to the right frequency to make the call profitable. I'm gonna call the 6-5 offer just because it's a smaller size. It's not 2.5x, it's 1.2x. And again, we expect post flop edge, but yeah, now just check fold. I'm gonna open a bit wider, 6-4, so that is close. I'm gonna over limp here. On the A-side border here, I'm going to start with a C-bet, even though I should check very often. That low jack specifically has an ace-X advantage over everybody, so you can see that a bit more often. When we have the back doors, we can bet along. When he goes with the red, and we just can't continue with a call. Here with the 9-6, we're just going to try to get the showdown. But when he starts betting and there's still a player behind and my hand is very weak, I'm just going to fold it. Open queen 10 off. I'm gonna call queen 2 here because it's a min raise. We get a bottom pair. This is a board he shouldn't really see, but a very high frequency. You would think because of the ace he should, but actually because of the 3 and the 2 he shouldn't. This is a hand. This is a cards that don't really connect with his offset range, which is the majority of his range. So we're gonna continue cautiously with the call. I'm gonna overcall king 3 suited here. And when he checks back, consider turning my hand into a bluff, but I'm just gonna check it down and I'll explain why. I prefer turning hands like Queen 4, Jack 5, Queen 5, you know, all those sorts of stuff, 4 7 suited, 5 8 suited, hands without a pair into a bluff. And here I'm just gonna fold the bottom pair. Open King 9 suited. By the way, you could, if you played with the guy on a daily basis, you can note that he takes a board he shouldn't really see bet very often, and see bets a hand like jacks, which is should be like 90% jack back frequency. So, and then next time when he see bets this type of board, you can just abuse him. You can abuse him and check raise everything you have, every backdoor you have, every random hand you have, and just put him on the spot, you know. Check raise barrel turn, check raise barrel turn, barrel river, depends on how the board develops. Gonna open ace 10. Open pocket fills, blind versus blind, and versus a recreational, I'm just gonna start with a half pot. Usually this is a board you should check very often, but because I'm playing versus a recreational, I don't really care about balancing. I'm just gonna play my hand. I think my hand prefers to bet. And here again, I just want to make stacks very small. I don't want to bet pot, but actually I might overbet here because I want to make the river bet less than pot. So you would call more, you would feel more obligated to the pot. Now if 5 is a straight and I know it, but what's the better option? Check? I think I just prefer jamming myself and hoping he has like a pair of 8s or a pair of 7 that he doesn't want to fold, or 7-6, something like that. Just the SPR is too small and our hand still has value. Now with the ace king here versus a 2x low jack open, you can either call with a low frequency or 3-bet. The standard would be the 3-bet. And we get it with the ace king here, we open, we get a 3-bet and a cold call from somebody who's 33-10, so a recreational but not a very loose one. So I think the best option here is just to jam. The ace king, there's already 24 BBs dead in the pot. You want to get fold equity, you want folds, take the 24 BB and not to face any equity, right? And so I think the best option here is just to jam. And maybe sometimes you will get caught by somebody with ace queen or something, again, recreational. Because they're both are recreational, right? You can't really cold call, you shouldn't have a cold calling range. And he called us with pocket nines, that's very unfortunate. That's the hands we wanted to make them fold. Okay, we're gonna run it twice. We get that once, and second time is easy. That's okay. Fair game. I'm gonna open this because it's a 5 VP guy. For 90 hands is very, very tight. So I just expect more folds from the button, from the big blind. And then it makes opening wider more profitable because you can win the blinds more often. Here we're gonna fold a6. It's just a very good hand. It's very often dominated. And we think about it. Besides the snap check, a board you should range bet actually for a small size. So I'm gonna continue cautiously. Usually I told you when somebody snap checks, a board that's very good for him, it usually means some sort of showdown. Maybe not another showdown, not like a very, very strong hand, not like a set of kings, but a lot of the times it's going to be like a queen or weak king. I'm just going to try to realize my showdown value if I have any. Maybe checks like, well, I was hoping for ace-10 and ace-jack, but now they both got them. And I'm just going to fold. I'm gonna call ace-8 here. This is a board he should see that range or close to it, like 80% of his range for a small size. And with ace-8, ace-10 would be continue. Ace-8 is a continue, I would think, if you have a club at least. But this is probably indifferent, I would say. That means it's a mix between a call and a fold. We flat at the button versus the low jack, and we're going to continue with the call here. And I'm going to 3-bet pocket nines. And when he bets one big blind again, you would think, oh, there's 4 flush on the flop. But he bets one big blind into a pot that's going to be 11. That means I only have to win the pot 9% of the time to make this call profitable. Or I would say 10% of the time, a bit more, to make this call profitable. And yeah, you see, sometimes he has a random bullshit. So when he bets really, really small, it's worth calling. And I'm gonna end the video in a bit, in just a few minutes. Fold king 10 here. So yeah, these are gonna be the last hands. If you guys enjoyed it, I really appreciate it. Subscribe. If you have any question, you can comment them. I will try to answer all questions, and a like and a subscribe will be very much appreciated. So I'm gonna finish the video after these two parts. We opened a6 and we have to fold also 3-bet, and we get ace queen in a splash pot. Let's see if we can finish this video in a good manner. We get 2 limps. And we're just gonna jam if he folds to us, and if somebody else jams, we're just gonna call, because we want to win the 15 BBs dead in the pot without seeing a flop. So there's a lot of money, there's a lot of dead money in the pot. So I think just jamming is worth it. And they all fold, and we win 50 BBs. So everybody, thank you very much. See you next time.